you know, when I want to ask today, how many British universities can survive without Indian students? And Indian students
without foreign students,
without say Indian and Chinese students. I'm not even saying Bangladesh is
not many.
How many British how many British can Britain survive without Indian investment?
That was the point.
Yes, yes, Casey.
That was the point I was making. That you see what happened to students going to Australia when we had a problem there.
Yes.
The students moved away from Australia. And now if it happens here, they'll go to another country. They'll go to Canada. We are the second largest number of students in USA at the moment. The Chinese are number 1. So there is a huge amount of money that Indians pump in. And therefore, we shouldn't start bemoaning the minute any country changes. These are countries which are contracting. These are not the old empires that they were.
Certainly
in any case, if you look over the next 30 years, Germany will have a shrinking population. Japan will have a shrinking population. Russia is already shrinking. In Europe, you're going to have shrinking opportunities and shrinking population.
But then by that logic...
So they have to take a decision. Ultimately, they'll have to take immigrants in.
Casey,
there'll be no one to run their jobs in 20, 25 years' time. The demand-supply situation will go.
But Casey, this world works on the diplomacy is on the basis of reciprocity. I know thousands of British students who come and do very low-paying jobs and enter, internships in Indian companies and want the great Indian experience, and doors are not closed for them. Do we have the toughness to act and say that if you're going to treat our people like that, if you're going to be discriminatory, then I'm sorry, but this country of 1.2 billion people cannot take any more people, migrants, tourists, backpackers, job seekers from the UK either.
We give a lot of trouble. I know when I was ambassador to Iran or later, I've seen a lot of trouble to Iranian students in India. Extension of their visas and so on and so forth. So India is not above blame as far as that is concerned. A lot of people come and work in India without permission because we have no way of keeping an account of it. And that's why you're not going to this single identity system. In India, it's a drop in the ocean. You don't know who's doing what here. You come on a tourist visa and you're working.
We can find out.
But that doesn't mean. But still, all I'm saying is you have the strength. You must have world-class universities here. Have the universities here, be the ones to draw, and let's not start bemoaning every time some small country does this.
No, but Meghnad Desai. Lord Meghnad Desai.
Look, let me say two things. If it is true that British universities cannot do without foreign students,
yes,
it is their business. If the country wants to commit suicide, it's a country's freedom to commit suicide. As far as Indian students are concerned, they have lots of other places to go to.
Yes.
America, Canada, Australia. And so I think the complaint really is, why should Indians complain if these guys don't want them? They can go elsewhere. The damage will be done entirely to the UK.
No, but
UK is self-abusing.
Absolutely.
Self-abusing because of a misguided immigration policy. But why do Indians want to insist to going somewhere who doesn't want them?
No, nobody's wanting it, probably.
Exactly. So why complain? Why complain?
Complain because you're cherry picking.
Why?
You're cherry picking.
Why have this?
Because you're cherry picking.
I'll tell you why. I'll give you.
Arnab, you haven't bought their plane.
I'll give you one reason.
You haven't got their plane, they're crying.
A person who has arrived here. No. Let me say. Arnab, can I say something?
Yes. No, I'm saying that we didn't buy the British plane.
Somebody who arrives in UK.
We bought the French plane.
Hang on.
We can all go to France. France will open its doors with India investing $20 billion there.
Can I say something?
We are net contributors. We are net contributors into the economies of every country that our students go. Indeed, to every country that our people go. There is no doubt about that.
Sure.
That's been proven by any number of studies.
Yeah,
these are the consequences of globalization. I mean, I'll tell you, I kid you not, within 10 years, you will see European students, British students coming to India to study, and that's already starting to happen.
And seeking
as the quality frame of Indian universities goes up, these are consequences of globalization. Now, going back to the Enoch Powell, sort of, we'll be flooded.
What is the complaint?
The complaint is you're cherry picking.
What's the complaint? complain.
Complaint is you cannot claim to be the world's melting pot.
UK
system is...
UK has a bad policy.
The complaint is
let UK commit suicide.
Let UK commit suicide, said Lord Meghnad Desai. Lord Meghnad Desai, your response to your...
Honorable endorse it.
Your distinguished co-parliamentarian who says, let the UK commit suicide. What's your problem? Yes, I want Keith Vaz to respond to that, please. Yes.
Yeah, I think the important thing is to remember that Meghnad Desai is not the government. And these are not his proposals.
Thank
what
God.
He's basically saying
Thank
is
God.
that these are going to be very, very destructive, in my view, to the relations between Britain and India. They're already going through a rough patch, and I think that they're going to be, the message that's coming out is the wrong message. We want to see people, I mean, it's great to see Dalip Tahil here on the programme. I'm one of his great fans. I hope he's going to stay in Mumbai next week because I shall be coming there myself to have lunch with him, hopefully. But the fact is, we want people to be able to come effortlessly from London to Delhi and Mumbai. Yes. And these are just further restrictions that will prevent that happening.
Yes.
What Dalip is talking about is quite right. There are many, many thousands of people who come here illegally. I've seen it for myself. I've been to the border between Greece and Turkey. I've seen 100,000 Afghanis who every year cross the border into the EU, make their way through Greece into Amsterdam and eventually end up in London. Frankly, that's what the British government should be concentrating on. All the people who are coming illegally into the United Kingdom. They should not be hitting at good people who are coming, Indian students and others who are making a huge contribution to our country.
Precisely. I mean, when we open everything, including British universities with open arms, and we are talking about Oxford and Cambridge opening up campuses in India, I mean, I think it's terrible for Britain to show insecurity of any kind. Dilip Tahil, please.
Well, yes. I completely agree with Keith.
Naveen Chopra, just coming to you. Yes, Dilip Tahil, please. Yes.
I completely agree with Keith, and I have to say that I'm a fan of yours as well. But the fact of the matter is that if you look at immigration in the UK, which started pretty much after the Second World War and after independence, there's a different profile of immigration. Later on, when it began in the United States of America, there was economic considerations and there was qualifications for people who wanted to go there. It was a different setup. So, I come to the fact to say that, look, there's a clean-up happening, and obviously, it's sad that we feel as Indians that we're being targeted. But I think at the end of the day, the genuine students who do come, and that's by and large, most of the Indian students who go there are genuine. I think over a period of time they'll find that the climate after they go and study there is far healthier than it is now.
I also...
there are bogus universities there. There are people coming in who absolutely don't qualify.
And you go to all the top universities, London School of Economics, Warwick, Oxford, Cambridge, and all the top universities in the UK, and you find that not just are the Indian students good, you find it pleasant surprise that the Indian students head the students' union.
Absolutely.
They top the English courses, and in fact they are the best and most distinguished students who contribute. And they are not millionaires, they're just good students. And Britain should not be insecure about students, should it? Naveen Chopra. They're not going to run over. In fact, I think, Naveen, it's good if the young British youngster gets a little run for his money. At home, it might improve competition quality levels.
Absolutely, and for British students, we should be inviting British students into our country and students from all over the world into our country. This is globalization. But genuine is the operative word here. Every country has a right. Every country has a right to sift out the non-genuine, the abusers. And I have to say that there have been a large number of those, which is the reason why all of this reaction started from the British government side. But at the same time, the vast majority of students going through are genuine students. They are net contributors in the economy. Not just from their tuition fees, in the living costs, their relatives visit them. They shop like mad out there. And at the end of the day, they add skill to the skill pool. The objection that is there, Meghnadji, the key objection is that the Enoch Powell kind of, philosophy of we'll be overrun and this, that and the other, that anyone who is non-white, we should not be visible, that is the objection. That is
not about race. It is not, hang on. This is not about race, because all non-Europeans,
Absolutely.
white, black and yellow, are not allowed in. So this is not Enoch Powell. This is not race.
Yeah.
No, Australians can come in and work freely. Americans can come and work freely.
Get serious.
Look, no, I'm serious. I mean, Australians, Americans can come in on their Canadians can come in and work freely.
One thing, look.
Meghna, can I just
said very clearly,
Meghna, this will actually, proportionately, I know you're saying it's not about race, but it actually will affect
it's a suicidal
Indian
policy.
people and people from far east.
I said it's a suicidal policy.
That's what will happen. You know that.
Okay. Now, gentlemen, Meghnad Desai, mysteriously his satellite link disappeared at that point. I will only say this as I say a big thank you to my guest. I would like to share on a more personal note. Gentlemen, one personal thing I want to share with you, that I think on the News Hour we must discuss a few non-domestic issues, non-India issues, because the India issues, I've never seen anyone smiling all of this week. In fact, so when we discuss foreign affairs, we see a lot of people smiling. Maybe I'll do a little bit more. When we discuss Mr. Chidambaram, when we discuss 2G, when we discuss the army chief, KC Singh was on it. I haven't seen a single smile. I tried very hard all of this week. All I did was lost my voice. But I want to wish our viewers a very happy week.